After decades of controversy and dispute, land stewards who have spent years studying water and wildlife movement in southern San Jose recently leveraged all their hard work and made the North Coyote Valley Conservation Area a reality.
So what makes the Coyote Valley so special? It is probably one of the last remaining valley floors in the San Francisco Bay Area that's undeveloped. And for many, many years, it's been an agricultural landscape, and before that, an indigenous peoples landscape. But one thing we've discovered over the years of our research, it's the last chance landscape. It's the last place for wildlife to move between the two mountain ranges of the Santa Cruz Mountains and the Diablo or Mount Hamilton range. So this valley floor is the last flat linkage or corridor that connects over 1.5 million acres of habitat in the two mountain ranges. Coyote Valley is really a magical place. It's a treasure for the San Francisco Bay region. And until the last several years, relatively unknown to the public. It's a large extent of flat agricultural land, which has a carpet of green during the winter months, wildflowers, standing water, birds migrating along the Pacific Flyway. And if you're lucky, you'll catch a glimpse of a bobcat or a coyote, maybe an American badger, and sometimes now even a mountain lion. But this is a relatively still wild landscape in an urban matrix. It is right on the urban edge. In fact, it defines the area of urbanization that is the city of San Jose. And through its preservation now, we have a protected green belt on the southern boundary of San Jose, the 10th largest city in the United States. And it's a miracle that it's still there.
Key to working this miracle has been the Santa Clara Valley Open Space Authority.
The Open Space Authority is a public land conservation agency and independent special district created by the legislature and supported by the voters back in 1993. So we've been around for 26 years. We're in the business of protecting open space, natural resources, wildlife habitat, and agricultural land for future generations all across Santa Clara County.
As we'll see, the Open Space Authority closely monitors how wildlife uses landscapes and how landscapes react when climate change causes massive impacts on watersheds.
The Coyote Valley in many ways is a model conservation partnership and a model conservation project. Coyote Valley's valley floor has the last remaining floodplains that have been undeveloped, 2,500 acres upstream of the city of San Jose. And after 40 years of threat and many attempts to protect it, what really made the difference in this partnership was the city of San Jose wanting to recognize the Coyote Valley as natural infrastructure, using nature and open landscapes to slow, store, spread water and keep it from flooding downtown areas.
In addition to recharging aquifers to ensure drinking water supply, the wetlands help protect nearby urban zones against flooding. So even more effective than man-made measures, Coyote Valley is considered natural infrastructure. Cities ignore preserving these areas at their peril. A number of circumstances coincided recently that resulted in catastrophic flooding, again in downtown San Jose. The impact to homes and businesses was both extensive and expensive. Residents' lives were severely impacted. Though rising creeks in the winter will always be a fact here, now it is clear that leaving upstream areas in their natural state has very real benefits.
And so the city of San Jose put a measure on the ballot. That measure passed. And in November of 2019, a very fruitful partnership delivered on the protection of almost 1,000 acres in the North Coyote Valley between the Santa Clara Valley Open Space Authority, the Peninsula Open Space Trust, and the city of San Jose.
The North Coyote Valley Conservation Area newly acquired 1,000 acres of valley floor, North Coyote Valley. An excellent example of our work at its best. We call this a last chance landscape because of the future that was plotted for this roughly 1,000 acres for well over 40 years. For many years it was intended as a corporate campus, which is common here in the Silicon Valley. But we've been able to grab the reins with really innovative partners, the City of San Jose, Peninsula Open Space Trust, and create a moment where this landscape now has a different future. One that hopefully serves all of us, provides opportunities for recreation, education, connection to your natural landscape. And we want to be able to use this land to serve the public, both in utilitarian ways of resilience to extreme weather, as well as a chance to develop a better relationship with where we all live and can appreciate.
So the significance of North Coyote Valley Conservation Area is that it is the closest point at which the Diablo Range and the Santa Cruz Range come together. So you have animals that are isolated on the Santa Cruz Mountains, and it's really important to have a way for them to get to the Diablo Range. Otherwise, they become genetically isolated, and that makes them more vulnerable to climate change and to other challenges that they may face. The animals that would be making this journey include the mountain lion, the bobcat, the coyote, and their badger friends.
So recently the public around the United States and even around the world were tickled to see a short video that went viral of a coyote and a badger seemingly becoming fast friends and following each other through a culvert, probably on their way to help each other find their next meal. And this really drove home how wildlife moves through an urban landscape. The video clip was actually filmed in the Santa Cruz Mountains, which is the border with Coyote Valley. There is wildlife out in these landscapes. They need to move from place to place for survival, from a patch of habitat to another patch of habitat. And oftentimes those large patches are separated or cut off by roads. So we go about our business of mapping where wildlife moves and where they need to roam. We look at wildlife cameras, we look at where wildlife is being hit by cars, and we soon develop a pattern of where wildlife needs to go and the amount of habitat they need. And then we set about strategic conservation, acquisition, restoration to protect those essential wildlife corridors. So if we had to design a wildlife bridge over Monterey Highway, what are some of the feasible locations?
The Open Space Authority plays an important role in creating and maintaining the connective wildlife corridors their research has proven are crucial.
Of course, Silicon Valley replaced Santa Clara Valley, and the Coyote Valley is one of the last vestiges of the so-called Valley of the Heart's Delight. So keeping agriculture viable has many benefits to growing populations into our cities. They keep those lands from being converted to development and urban sprawl, which produces greenhouse gas emissions. We have hopefully locally grown produce. And in fact, this valley actually produces 30% of the crop value for the entire Santa Clara County, which at one time was one of the top producing agricultural counties in the nation.
Our goal is to protect working lands and agriculture, to connect people to nature and conserve natural areas. The Open Space Authority has a vibrant volunteer program. For example, today we're here for a land steward event.
For an event like this, we do ask that, people have their boots and their gung-ho attitude. Today we are restoring part of the floodplain, and we are removing an invasive species, poison hemlock, from that floodplain so that native plants can grow and flourish and also help sustain the native animal populations.
Feels good. Literally, it feels good. You're getting outside, you're helping your community, but yeah, I just enjoy it. Yeah. I know a lot of people are like, That's like you're working. I'm like, yeah, but it feels good, you know.
We want to restore this landscape to native habitat, so then the birds, the animals, the pollinators can come back and help sustain this ecosystem that we're trying to build back up.
We can make a difference today that when we leave, this landscape will be improved.
Volunteers, they'll drive past this field right behind me, and they'll see flowers start to come back, they'll see native plants start to come back, and they'll say, huh, I had a hand in that, a literal hand in that. So it's great.
The acquisition and preservation of land is really only the beginning of a lifelong stewardship process. We have the opportunity now to create an unparalleled landscape for wildlife and people. And so our job ahead is to plan the future uses of Coyote Valley, to raise the significant public and private funding to bring the conservation vision and the restoration vision of this magical place to life.